Good evening, everyone. Thank you. My name is Dave Boyer. I'm the City Manager for Farmington Hills, and welcome to the 43rd Annual Recognition and Service Awards Program. I know we were supposed to do this a few months ago, but we had a little bit of a blizzard, and we didn't want you to travel in that. Tonight we have a beautiful night, so thank you again for your patience and waiting for us to reschedule this. But this is a night that we look forward to each and every year, a celebration of our employees. And tonight we'll be receiving awards based on years of service, and then we also have a special award for the Outstanding Employee Awards tonight. But it's my pleasure right now to introduce our mayor, Mayor Massey.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Mr. Boyer. And it is my honor to be with you here this evening. Before we get started, I would like to introduce to you the members of council that are here tonight. Dr. Teresa Rich and Councilman Lerner have joined us this evening, as well as our state representative, Christine Gregg. On behalf of all of the members of City Council, let me say it's a privilege to be part of this celebration. 43 years, what an amazing number. But this is truly a celebration of our distinguished and loyal employees who have helped to ensure that Farmington Hills evolves into the excellent city that it is today. And we want to thank all of you for your commitment, your professionalism, and your energy in delivering the services for our residents. We will also praise those who are here being honored as outstanding employees for their special efforts over the last year. The council and I always welcome this occasion to say thank you through our service award program. It's also a way to acknowledge the differences that each of you have made and ask for your continued dedication in the future. We rely on you and your years of experience to help us discover new ways of serving the residents of Farmington Hills and to continue to provide the excellent services to the residents and businesses. All of the employees who are celebrating a milestone anniversary of 5 through 35 years will receive a gift which they have already selected and is appropriate to their years of service. These gifts are a symbol of our appreciation and thanks for a job well done. Next, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce our Human Resources Director, Mr. John Randall Sr. John is going to come up to the podium and announce the names of the awardees, and we ask the employees to exit to the left of the stage to pick up your gift with from VNA Wilson and Erica Jimenez of the Human Resources Department. John.
Good evening, folks. Thank you. So this evening is the highlight of the year for the HR staff, and I'm pleased to present the employees receiving recognition for their many years of service. Farmington Hills employees are by far among the most dedicated public servants in the state, and we're proud to have them on our team. We take this special occasion to tell them just how much we appreciate them, how much they mean to us, and recognize the work that they do. So we'll ask employees in each service anniversary group to stand and proceed to the right of the stage. As we announce your name in alphabetical order, please come forward to be recognized. Although we have about 62 employees that are receiving service awards this year, we'll only announce those that are present to receive those awards. Although everyone may not be present tonight, we've taken the opportunity to do a nice PowerPoint presentation to show everyone that is receiving gifts this year or service awards this year. So I ask that you hold your applause until I've read the names of everyone in the respective service group. At this time, I'd like to invite the employees with 5 years of service to proceed to the right of the stage to be recognized. I'll run up here once. Oh, here we go. All right. Okay, so these are employees with 5 years of service. Janet Cisneros. Hold your applause. Lindsay McDonald. If you can't resist, go let it go. Kelly Nelson. So those are 5 years. So with employees with 10 years of service, please report to the stage. 10 years of service. There we go. Hey, last but not least.
Wait a minute, I called you up that. Jonesy wants to eat.
Okay, so employees with 10 years, employees with 10 years of service, not necessarily in alphabetical order. Shimsi Basili. And Jared Fauché. That's 10 years. Okay, so employees with 15 years of service, please report to the stage. 15 years, 15. Okay. Ed Heidelbeck, paid callback captain, fire department. Matt Schiffman, paid callback, district chief, fire department. Ellen Schnackel, director, special services. $15 years. 15 years. Okay. Very nice. Okay, with the employees with 20 years of service, please report to the stage. 20 years. 20 years. Okay. So, employees with 20 years service, Dave Boyer, city manager. Very nice. Brian Farmer, deputy director, special services. Michael Flatt, sergeant, police sergeant. Jacob Nostein, video production specialist, special services. Kent Schooley, police officer, police department. Chris Stewart, police officer, police department. Employees with 25 years, would you please report to the stage? 25 years. Okay. All right, looks like I'm missing a name here. John Castron, firefighter, fire department.
I was a late shore.
Okay.
Gerard Antonetti.
Gerard Antonetti, everyone. Gerard. 25 years. You can be late with 25 years. It doesn't matter. 30 years. Please report to the stage. 30 years. Where are you?
Come on, Dick, John.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Here we go. All right, 30 years. Mike Cimitaro, retired assistant chief. Elsie Price, park maintenance technician, special services department. And Marv Rapaldi, equipment operator 2, DPW special services. 30 years. 30 years. What?
Johnny?
Did I say special services?
DPW. It's okay.
You
It's
got-
all good.
He just got a promotion and transfer, folks. Public services, public services. My apologies. Those with 35 years, would you please report to the stage? 35 years. Anyone? Going once? Going twice? That's it. Okay, so those are all of our award recipients for service awards. If you would, please join me in a final round of applause for those employees for their service. Thank you, Mr. Boyd.
We have a lot of different instructions up here. All right. All right, the second half of our program is dedicated to honoring employees who made a significant contribution throughout this past year. The presentation of the Outstanding Employee Awards is a special part of the awards program each year. Since 1986, the city has honored several employees each year with this designation. As part of this honor, the award winners will get a plaque, and they also get a cash reward as a token of our appreciation. We will begin the presentation tonight with the Firefighter of the Year, followed by the Police Officer of the Year, and after those awards have been presented, we'll announce the civilian winners, beginning with the 4 outstanding employees and ending with the Employee of the Year. So at this time, hold on. This time I'd like to introduce Fire Chief John Randall. Oh, John Unruh. Wait a minute, it's on this. Sorry, Mr. Randall.
Good to see you.
Good evening, everyone. To my left is Battalion Chief Bruce Belsky. Bruce contacted me back in late November and wanted to nominate a group of firefighters for Firefighter of the Year that played an important part in Bruce's life, literally. I want to take everyone back to the late morning of October 2nd. Battalion Chief Belsky was the on-duty shift commander when he had a sudden onset of severe chest pain and general weakness. He was able to notify Lieutenant Don Shinsky, who immediately requested Squad 2, since Squad 5 that's housed at headquarters was already out on a run. He then alerted Senior Firefighter John Castron and additional headquarters staff. They immediately began to render aid. Squad 2 arrived and continued treatment and transported Bruce to Beaumont and Farmington Hills. This was all done with the assistance of the Farmington Hills Police Department, who blocked intersections. This traffic assistance allowed for a 2-minute transport time from 11 Mile and Orchard Lake to Grand River and Middle Belt or Grand River and 8 Mile at Beaumont Farmington Hills. Beaumont's interventional cardiologists were able to open up an almost 100% occluded left anterior descending artery, or better known as the widowmaker, due to the high fatality rate associated with this blockage. Most of the people that Bruce wanted to honor are here today. Please stand as I call your name. Deputy Chief Jason Olszewski, Lieutenant Jamie Neufeld, Lieutenant Don Shinsky, Sergeant Nick Hippler, Sergeant Matt Migliori, Senior Firefighter John Castron, Senior Firefighter Jason Gilbert, Captain Jim Donovan, Firefighter Kayla Geffert, Police Officer Nicole Tomanovich Morton, and Police Officer Chris Weiss. Please join me in a round of applause as we honor those who played such a critical role. So things change here a little bit, Bruce. In fact, the tables have turned. In fact, you were nominated by several people. The awards committee also recommended you as the Firefighter of the Year. So let's hear a little bit about Bruce. Battalion Chief Bruce Belsky started as a paid-on-call firefighter in September of 1990. Was hired as a career firefighter in September of 1993, promoted to a paid-on-call sergeant in 1994, career inspector in 1998, and then he made battalion chief in 2004. Battalion Chief Belsky has numerous life-saving, chain of survival, unit citations, in addition to being named a previous Firefighter of the Year. Battalion Chief Belsky has received countless letters of appreciation from citizens and business owners. Throughout his career, Bruce has exhibited professionalism and leadership qualities in an exemplary fashion. His command presence on fire scenes promotes crews to operate effectively, efficiently, and most important, safely. His attention to detail and organization allows him to manage the daily city operations in a manner that is second to none. Within mere hours of being discharged from the hospital this fall, Bruce was already at home and on his computer, checking emails and working on the next shift schedule. Better yet, less than a week later, he informally attended a shift commander's meeting. Bruce didn't need to do this. In fact, I'm sure his cardiologist and his family didn't endorse this type of activity, but it's just an example of how much he really cares. Based on all these reasons and numerous more, we are extremely happy to name Battalion Chief Bruce Belsky as the Farmington Hills Fire Department Firefighter of the Year.
And next, it's my pleasure and honor to introduce our representative, our House Representative, Christine Gregg.
Thank you, Mayor Massey, and thank you for once again allowing me to be here. It's my 5th year doing this. Do I get an award for that? No. Anyway, but Bruce, thank you so much and congratulations. Your dedication after, suffering, that heart occurrence is just amazing to hear that you're right back in helping the community, and it just is a testament to how much you care for our community and how much your work means to yourself and to everyone around you, and just everyone standing up and that pitched in that day to help too. It's amazing, and just makes me more proud every day to represent this community and to present to you on behalf of the state of Michigan. Senator Moss and I want to present this certificate of appreciation and acknowledgement for all the great work that you do.
Thank you.
I wasn't expecting this, obviously. I thought I might say a few words to everybody that pitched in and obviously saved my life. I mean, I planned on retiring last August, and it was a good thing I didn't, because the sudden onset of chest pain that I had, which I thought was the end right then and there really took me by surprise, because I feel like I'm a pretty healthy person. I work out fairly regularly and try to take care of myself for my family. And when I had to go back and tell Lieutenant Shinsky that I was having some chest pain, the efficiency with which he acted and the rest of the crew, I mean, John Castron, we had my fourth son, Nick Hippler, who's not here. He's coming back from overseas, I believe, or from California. Kayla Geffert, one of our newest career firefighters, and sorry if I forget to name names, all the police officers at Block Traffic. I mean, they literally saved my life, and I can't be more thankful for that. And then to, again, turn the tables on me, I wanted them to be recognized tonight, not me. I'm just doing my job and love every minute. It's been a vacation from day one, and it's still a vacation. I'm going to hate to leave when I retire in December, but it's time. It's time to let some of the younger guys take over the young man's job. So thank you, everybody.
This time I'd like to invite Chief Nebus.
Congratulations, Battalion Chief Belsky. Good evening. It's my honor tonight to honor Officer Dave Geffert, one of the many heroes of the Farmington Hills Police Department. I'm going to travel back to the summer of 2012, and I learned Sergeant Dave Geffert at the time with the Warren Police Department was retiring. I learned he applied at the Farmington Hills Police Department, and as I usually do, I thought, I'll make a phone call to the chief. So I called Commissioner Jerry Green in Warren to see if Sergeant Geffert was as good a person as he looked on paper, and he appeared to be a candidate for our department. And he told me he was the real thing. I was invited to the Warren Police Department, Sergeant Geffert's last roll call, and I saw something special, a very special bond with the department, and learned just what a good man he was at that department. While there at that roll call and visiting with the Warren personnel, I learned that Officer Geffert was the most decorated officer in the history of the Warren Police Department. I also learned that the Medal of Valor was only issued 4 times in the history of the Warren Police Department, and Sergeant Geffert had won it twice. He won it for saving the lives of 4 teenagers trapped in a burning car. He received a Medal of Valor for being taken a hostage by a renegade motorcycle group. And also while at Warren, he received the Medal of Honor, the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police Distinguished Service Medal, and the American Police Hall of Fame Silver Star for bravery, and many others. Now fast forward to his hiring in Farmington Hills, and one of the reasons I mentioned some of the history of Warren is Officer Dave Geffert has been with our department for 6 years. In that 6 years, he's received 16 awards in such a short period of time. I'm going to tell you 6 quick stories from last year about what led Officer Geffert to be our honoree this year. He received a unit citation for his work on a domestic homicide case on Howard Road, where he assisted in the search warrants and interviewing potential witnesses. A second event was Orchard Lake gas station was broken into last winter, and the phone pings traced this individual. Officer Geffert and his team went to the city of Detroit. They forced entry and arrested the individual. Several persons wanted for a burglary, and the person had 4 past very violent felonies on his record. They recovered evidence of the burglaries, including cash drawer, cigarettes, and clothing worn, and the illegal drugs. The third event I'm going to call the surveillance of the surveillors, a very unusual story. For 26 days, Officer Geffert was part of a team of officers who did surveillance on a group of individuals who committed over 200 burglaries in the last 4 years in the Farmington Hills area. They stole over $1 million worth of property, much of which was shipped out of the country. During those 26 days, Officer Geffert and the crew watched the criminal suspects. They watched them do surveillances of Asian business owners that they were targeting. During one of those surveillances in Farmington Hills, I remember a story Dave shared with me that there was just an arborvitae bush between him and the individual about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, that he could have reached out and touched him while the burglars were taking notes on checking out this house that they were going to hit. At a later time, they came back. Officer Geffert and his crew watched them do a burglary, made an arrest at the scene. Later, Canton Township Police Department arrested other individual. Several search warrants were done. Significant amounts of jewelry and property was seized, over 850 pieces of property and $360,000 in cash. A fourth story is a burglar who he chased through backyards, led to foot pursuit, apprehension of a burglar, and recovery of stolen property from several crimes. A fifth story, I'm going to call this one the sledgehammer burglar who needed more muscle. The subject was responsible for 14 area commercial burglaries, including 2 in Farmington Hills. The subject had a long criminal history. The subject's MO was to use a sledgehammer to break out the glass and use a dolly to steal the ATM. The suspect was located and surveilled from Detroit to the suburbs on several nights. On one night, the subject was surveilled to a market in Commerce Township where he unsuccessfully tried to smash out the glass door with a sledgehammer. The next night, the subject was followed to a Farmington Hills gas station where he unsuccessfully, once again with a sledgehammer, tried to break out the glass. Maybe he went to the gym in between, because the next night, and maybe after a day at the gym, Officer Geffert and officers watched him successfully smash out the glass door of a restaurant in West Bloomfield where he was promptly taken into custody. The sixth story involves 9 hours of surveillance of a dangerous criminal responsible for 21 burglaries and a home invasion. The suspect stopped at a closed hair salon in White Lake where he broke out a window before entering. Officer Geffert, when the individual was leaving, was confronted and a struggle ensued. Officer Geffert was punched several times by the burglar, and during a very close quarters fight, the subject, who was armed with a screwdriver in his hand, stabbed Officer Geffert several times in his back. Other officers were able to assist and help take the individual into custody. Officers quickly looked for stab wounds, but thankfully reported all the blows landed on Officer Geffert's body armor. I'm going to pause just momentarily for the Officer of the Year Award. The Medal of Valor is very special. In the history of the Farmington Hills Police Department, I think it's only been awarded the last 45 years 3 times. So it's now my honor, on behalf of our Citation Awards Committee, and my first time in 14 years as chief, issuing this to a police officer under my command. I would present you with the department's Medal of Honor. And I know you have a group of fans here with you tonight. Maybe could all the stories I told, the 6 different stories, the Farmington Hills officers who were part of your team or who were with you on any of those events, would you please stand for recognition? Thank you. There's more to a real hero than just heroic acts. There's many letters of appreciation in Officer Geffert's file, from citizens thanking him for his compassion and professionalism at the scene of death investigations. An elderly resident wrote to the department whose smoke alarm was malfunctioning. He responded, went out and got one and installed it for that resident. Another resident described Officer Geffert's compassion at the scene of a domestic violence complaint. Officer Geffert is a Farmington Hills resident. He's volunteered his time to help our fire department with EMT exercises. Officer Geffert also received special recognition earlier this year in October, actually right on the stage. Our community call to action honored Officer Geffert with their special award for his work in the city's sobriety court program, making 59 home visits, treating all the persons arrested in that program with respect and dignity. He's a graduate of Macomb County Police Academy, Macomb County College. He's been an Army veteran and a 31-year police veteran with his years at Farmington Hills and Warren. He's an instructor at the Oakland Police Academy, giving back to others. On behalf of the Farmington Hills Police Department, Awards and Citations Committee, and the City of Farmington Hills, it's my honor to congratulate you and present you with the Police Officer of the Year plaque. And I also have a Valor Citation and Police Officer of the Year certificate, which I'll maybe put those aside because your public awaits your remarks.
Thank you. Don't be intimidated by this. I'm 53 years old, so I need a bigger font, so to help me see a little bit better. Yeah, it's been an extremely proud opportunity to work here in the city of Farmington Hills. Apparently my font's not big enough. So if there's any DPW guys that do street signs, those could be a little bit bigger on the midnight shift. That'd be great. But good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank all of you tonight because it took a lot of planning to get this together, and the logistics that went into this type of an event has been just amazing. I was almost thinking that the more we kept putting this off, I might be sharing the stage with the 2019 Officer of the Year. But like I said, it was something that I truly appreciate. And I'm extremely in awe how our city government, how our community comes together, because where I came from, it was a great place. They gave me a good career. I was able to provide for my family, but there was never this sense of cohesiveness, from City Hall through the fire department, right on through the police department, not to mention our relationships with DPW and all the different aspects of, how we operate here. So I can truly appreciate that. For somebody that's kind of been brought up and in the, Farmington Hills community, I guess you'd be considered just, spoiled. Not that you don't appreciate it, but you just don't know any better. But when you come from the outside, you can truly see what a difference this makes. So it was just about a year ago that I sat in this very room. I was, being recognized for my 5th year of service here with Farmington Hills. And as a result of my 5 years of service, I received a gift. It was a putter. So, and if anybody saw me golf last year, I don't think that putter was the right gift. I don't know if Erica or if I can maybe exchange my putter for something, because it certainly maybe a toaster, but the putter did not work out well for me. You can ask Detective Hernandez. So I gotta be able to acknowledge the presence here of my administrative staff, from AC, Assistant Chief Rodriguez, Assistant Chief King, Commander Underu, Commander Piggott, congratulations. Of course, Chief Shimatero, he is very pivotal in why I'm here today, because I can remember as I was getting closer to my retirement in Warren, I needed to come up with a plan. And I reached out to one of my colleagues at work who's good friends with Chief Shimatero, and the rest is history. So I'm deeply indebted to your support and getting me to where I am today. There's just so many people here. Officer Bob Garrick, he was our Officer of the Year last year for 2017. He's here today in support. And again, you don't see that kind of a relationship in most police departments or in cities for that. But most of all, Chief Nebus, I am truly indebted to your support and your faith in me. And it was kind of an interesting set of circumstances that brought me here. After I'd gone through the hiring process, my very last roll call, as I was, there on my day of retirement, Chief Nebus showed up, and there was probably at least 20 or 30 guys that came to me throughout the course of this roll call, going, "Are you kidding? You came all the way from Farmington Hills to," and that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about with the close support that we get. At our police department. So I do thank you for that and your introduction. I appreciate that as well. It does make me think back to October when I was being recognized by the Farmington Hills Call to Action Coalition for my involvement with the sobriety program. You know, after the introduction that morning, Chief Nebus went through my biography, and you know, much of the same as it was here tonight. And you know, with that, I was able to address the attendees that particular morning. And afterwards, I had an opportunity to mingle with many of the people that attended that that event. So I had a contact, or I met with a gentleman, you know, and he approached me after the event, and he's like just looking at me. He's like, "Wow," and he's like, "All those things Chief Nebus said, that was you?" And I said, "You know, yeah." He goes, "I pictured you so much differently." You know, after Chief Nebus had, you know, talked about, you know, your career, you know, so we sort of joked, and it was almost seemingly like, and I don't want to date myself, but was he expecting like a Steven Seagal, you know, or a bandolier of AR rounds, and karate chop the podium and whatnot? That's kind of what he was expecting, and it was an interesting, you know, contact. But basically, I told this gentleman that the truth of the matter is, you know, I'm just an ordinary guy that you know, has faced some extraordinary circumstances. You know, I also like to introduce my family that is here tonight. My mom, Darlene. Yeah, she's you know, put up with me for the 31 years, you know, and then of course my daughter Kayla, who just recently joined the Farmington Hills family. She was sworn in just over 2 weeks ago as a full-time career firefighter. Very proud of you. And I'm glad that she was able to choose the footsteps or the path of my brother, who's a St. Clair Shores firefighter. He's been there over 20 years. He couldn't be here tonight because, you know, he had to work, and it kind of just goes to show, you know, when you're in the public service, you know, you can imagine what it was like for my mom over the course of, you know, 25 plus years, you know, trying to coordinate holidays and special events, and, you know, is your brother working? Are you working? You know, and now we throw Kayla into the mix, so things are going to get a little bit more stressful, you know, when it comes to planning these events. And of course, you know, my daughter Samantha, she could not be here tonight. She's up at Saginaw Valley State University, but hi Sam, I know she's watching, and she'll be home soon. So I do look forward to that, and she'll be completing her studies. And I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my extended family. Most of the people in the room know these guys. We have Sergeant Brian Moore, Detective Paulo Hernandez, Detective Nick Miller. You know, there was also Detective Phil Andrews. He could not be here tonight. He's not able to join us. But, you know, that goes without saying. Very few things in life are entirely the work of just one person. And this tonight is no exception. So I must pay tribute to their enormous contributions, without which none of this would have been possible, and I certainly wouldn't be standing here now. They challenged me, they motivated me, and they inspired me. Every day I reported to work, you know, I wanted to go out and do just as great as work, you know, as them. And together, you know, we did some pretty amazing things. You know, over the span of you know, 3 decades. That makes me sound old. 3 decades. But I can say that during the course of my time, you know, with Sergeant Moore and Detective Hernandez, I was involved in some of the most prolific investigations of my career. But that all came to an end August of last year. My 3 years in that unit were up, so I needed to come back to the midnight shift. and returned back to patrol, my roots. Returning to patrol was a big transition, mostly lifestyle. To say the least, the hours are a lot tougher on me now at 53 than they were 25 years ago. Most of the time I lose track of days. I always seem to be in a fog. So on January 8th, I woke up late afternoon. I'd missed several phone calls. During the 3 years I was in DPU, that phone was in service 24/7. Now when I went back to patrol division and whatnot, there's not really that requirement to be on at all times of the day. So having said that, I missed several calls, and I looked at the caller ID, and I'm like, oh no, Assistant Chief Rodriguez. Okay. I looked at the next one, Detective Hernandez, and I'm like going, oh geez, there's nothing good about this, because Detective Hernandez also serves as our union president. So my heart began to sink, and it's been my experience in the 30 plus years that nothing good could come of those types of calls. So I kind of panicked a little bit, started thinking back to things that I may have screwed up, service calls, lawsuits, you name it, etc. So, of course, my first call was to Detective Hernandez, my friend / union president. He answered the phone, and the first thing he said was, before I could say anything, the first thing he said was Beeve. That was my code name in the Directed Patrol Unit. He said, Beeve, before you say anything, I just want to let you know that you're on speakerphone. And I'm thinking, my God, it's like, and again, coming out of this fog of the midnight lifestyle, and he goes, I also want you to know I have Jim Bretz with me. Oh, how much worse can this get? Jim Bretz is, he's an officer with us on days, most of you know him, but he's also on our executive board for the union. And I'm thinking, my God, how bad did I screw up? And then all of a sudden, he basically said, we're in the chief's office. And I go, okay, that's it. I'm done. I am done. And then all of a sudden, the chief said, Dave, it's the chief. I just want to let you know that you've been selected as the 2018 Police Officer of the Year. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because I never expected that. And as animated as I was, I guess what I'm trying to say is that in our profession, as we prepare, as we train, and we go out to do what we're sworn and committed to do, the thought of awards and accolades, the recognition, those are not considerations or motivations or incentives as to why we go out and do what we do, to go out and serve and protect and keep our community safe. I'm honored and humbled to stand before you as the 2018 Police Officer of the Year. I join a long distinguished list of past recipients who I long admired and respected. If you have an opportunity to visit the police department, there's a board, and on that board are just names of all the police officers of the year dating all the way back 43 some odd years ago. I would walk by that sign almost daily, I'd stare up at it and go, geez, what would it take to be up there? I found out. But in looking at it, it just makes me think, it makes me stop and pause of the great, accomplishments and things that, officers have done in the past. And I'm proud to, join that long list of distinguished officers. I'd also like to thank the awards board for selecting me. I know Sergeant Connolly is here today, and I know that must not have been an easy job, because I'm telling you, throughout the course of the years, I look back, some of the bravery, the courage by our officers has been, it almost makes me feel like, well, he did something way better than, you know, me getting in a fight with, you know, some, you know, crackhead at 3 o'clock in the morning out in Highland Township, you know what I mean? You know, so I can't see that have been, you know, it just had to be an unbelievably difficult task. And, you know, again, I'd like to congratulate all of the attendees here tonight that are being recognized for their contributions to the city of Farmington Hills. And I just want you to know that when I became a resident of the city of Farmington Hills, it was purposeful. I don't know, again, when I spoke earlier of my appreciation for the city of Farmington Hills, you know, I meant it, because coming from somewhere else and then seeing what, you know, back in 2012, we were just coming out of that recession. There was not a lot of opportunity for many people, whether it was in the fire careers or police, whatnot. And I had to retire, you know, for economic reasons and things like that. So I still had a lot of gas in my tank. I didn't want to give up. I wanted to continue on with my law enforcement career. And when I looked at Farmington Hills, coming out of a recession, and I visited the campus, and I'm looking, and they're doing building improvements. They're getting equipment. We're holding things together with duct tape over on the east side. You know, we're laying people off. Several of the police departments that I considered, you know, looking into were forecasting layoffs. They were closing libraries. And when I seen how well managed this city was, I go, I got to be a part of that. You know, and then, you know, obviously that inspired me to want to move into the city. It has been a great opportunity for me, and I appreciate that. So basically, I just like to leave you with a quote from Mark Twain. It's something that, you know, I carry with me throughout my career, that, you know, courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, but it's not the absence of fear. I go out every night, I'm scared to death, but, you know, we do what we do. And, you know, I want to thank everybody for tonight. Appreciate it.
So, Officer Gefford, thank you so much. Clearly, Warren's loss was our gain. And, you know, when you came here and you thought our community is strong, and everything that you said that you really appreciated about it, it's clear that you have made it even stronger. And again, it's my pleasure to produce this, give you this proclamation from the state of Michigan. And just Steven Seagal's gotten that Naya.
Thank you. I finally found someone that can talk longer than Chuck can, so congratulations. All right, at this time, I would like just to take a moment to explain how the civilians are selected to receive their prestigious awards. In November, employees are asked to nominate their coworkers and to consider 3 criteria in making that decision: their job performance, rapport with their coworkers, and the delivery of service to the public. From that nomination, the department directors and the past 5 employees of the year look at the nomination and review those nominations, and out of that, they choose several of the top employees for the Outstanding Employee Awards. And from that group, they pick 1 employee to be nominated the Employee of the Year. And our program is called the Jane Krupka Memorial Employee of the Year. For those that may not have known Jane, she received this award in 1995 when she demonstrated exceptional dedication to her job, to her coworkers, and to the citizens while she was battling some medical challenges herself. We have the highest regard to the employees who receive this special recognition, and we honor them by displaying their picture and name on a plaque in City Hall. And I know Harry Yee thought he was the longest one because of the delay in this, but we will make sure that your award stays up for 1 year. At this time, I'd like to invite the department heads up who have award recipients tonight. And we will start with Ellen Schneckel.
Because I have the most. I'm Ellen Schneckel, Director of Special Services, and I'd like to welcome up Marketing Specialist Chris Blunden. I know it's pretty hard to follow the sledgehammer killer guy, but we're going to do our best here to talk about your many great accolades and assets to the city. All right, so this is Chris Blunden, a marketing specialist. He started part-time with the city in 2015, and his position became full-time in 2017. In his position with our department, he's responsible for promoting all of our programs and events through a variety of outlets. He coordinates and designs the Special Services Activities Guide, which is a 70-plus page document. It's mailed out to every single resident. That's 40,000 homes 3 times a year. He manages our Facebook page, designs and coordinates all of the department's email newsletters, social media outlets, other web-based campaigns. He designs special marketing pieces, the summer camps, trifold brochure, postcards for special events, T-shirts, banners, the front sign outside, all of it. He's the only full-time marketing specialist for the department, the first one we've ever had, and he's doing a heck of a job. He works on multiple projects with many employees across not only our department, but across the entire city. He has excellent rapport with his coworkers and works tirelessly to make sure all of our programs are presented in a timely, thoughtful, and engaging way. This past year, he successfully merged the Focus newsletter with our activities guide, which was no small feat. It was a pretty significant redesign, and it turned out sharply. Other projects Chris has worked on over this last year that were significant for us was the Parks and Recreation Millage campaign, as well as the Road Millage campaign. He worked very closely with department heads, as well as Jill Pines in the city manager's office, not only to thoughtfully design promotional packages for both of those millage campaigns, but in fact get them passed in our community, which was fantastic. So we appreciate his efforts there in getting the information out to our community. The high-quality look and information that Chris creates and promotes translates into high-quality services and more people experiencing the parks, facilities, programs, and many amenities our city offers. Most recently, Chris submitted and won 3 marketing awards through the Michigan Recreation and Parks Association. The first was the Best Special Program Brochure or Activity Guide. The second was the Best Social Media Campaign, and that was for #DiscoverJuly. And the Best Integrated Marketing Campaign for the 2018 Parks and Recreation 10-Year Millage Renewal. Chris makes our entire city shine, and he's definitely brought a level of coolness to our department that I think didn't exist before. And to put it simply, he makes us all look very, very good. He finds and highlights the best of everything we have to offer. He's a valuable employee, and I congratulate you, Chris, on this well-deserved honor.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank the mayor, city council, the selection committee, and whoever nominated me. I have no idea. When I first found out that I was going to be a recipient of one of these awards, I was a little surprised that one of the thoughts that came to mind was an experience that I had in 7th grade. In 7th grade, I tried out for the basketball team. I was cut. My father had been in the bleachers during all of the tryouts, and so he had the experience of seeing what I did or didn't do correctly, or how I could have improved. So we had a little discussion afterwards, and he explained some of the issues that I had and why I might not have made the team. The biggest issue was that I was way too concerned about what my best buddy, Pat Ward, was going to be thinking of me, and I hung out with him the whole time and didn't really focus too much on the basketball. But he sat me down, he said, "You have the skill, you have the ability to make this team." He said, "You should focus on," "these three things. Be yourself, find your spot, be the best you can be." So I took those three things for the next year and thought on them, worked them out, kept practicing, came back 8th grade, and this time I was not cut. I made the team, starting 5, we went to the championships. So, fast forward to today, I think back in my life, and those three things that he taught me have been a big part of why I've been able to be successful in many of the things that I've been successful at throughout my life. My father, he's still alive. He's not able to be here this evening, so I owe great debt of gratitude to him for those 3 lessons that I learned early in life. The privilege that I have working for the city of Farmington Hills is a great one. I have enjoyed every minute since being hired on here. I have no plans of going anywhere else. I love my job here at the city. And I also think that anybody who's successful, by and large, they have a good team around them. So there's way too many people to mention in our department, but we have a great team, and I couldn't achieve what I achieve without the help of those many. I would like to say thank you to 2 people in particular, though, my boss, Brian Farmer, and Ellen Schnackle. They have been some of the best leadership and bosses that I've ever worked for. They set the tone, they give direction, and they allow me the freedom to be who I am in the position that I have. So, thank you very much. So once again, I'm honored to be a recipient of one of these awards. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Next up, I'd like to welcome Teresa Bryant, Nutrition Services Coordinator for the Department of Special Services. Teresa started with the city in 2014 as I said, Nutrition Service Coordinator. She is in charge of the entire nutrition program, which includes Meals on Wheels, as well as on-site meals for seniors and those with special needs in our community. That's over 108,000 meals a year that are produced right here at the Costic Center to serve those in need in our community, and Teresa heads that up. It's a federally funded program, so each and every penny, pie, and piece of penne must be tracked and accounted for. Whew, I got that. Teresa is meticulous in her record-keeping, purchasing efforts, and never misses a deadline. Her attention to detail is remarkable. She's responsible for coordinating food services for many special events, health fairs, cooking demonstrations, and as you know, you may know, Meals on Wheels drivers, they deliver food for sure, but that's really just a small part of the visit. They are checking in on our homebound residents, spending time visiting with them, and often referring them to other city services. Teresa's value to our residents goes beyond providing a meal. She's developed relationships with them. She is thoughtful, dedicated, and kind. She often spends her own money to buy small gifts for staff and volunteers, or takes the time to bake a cake or a batch of cookies for someone's birthday. When many of us are celebrating holidays with our loved ones, Teresa can be found right here in the Costic kitchen on days like Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving to make sure that our residents, our seniors, who may not see another single family member during that holiday time, receive a hot, delicious meal, often with a card or a note from our very own after-school program. In her free time, she actually volunteers to quilt. I guess you make a quilt, not knit a quilt. Make quilts for patients at the Children's Hospital. I think it's important to note here that Teresa was nominated. She received a whopping 9 nominations for this award. She was nominated by her peers, some staff, even some very special support staff we have in our kitchen. And I wanted to share just a couple comments from her nominators. Her thoughtfulness makes us feel appreciated. She leads by example and reminds us to treat our coworkers and the people we serve with respect. Teresa's a great person to work with. She is helpful and always smiling. She knows how to do every single job within our division and always steps up when needed, whether that's packing lunches, slicing bread, making soup, driving a Meals on Wheels route, or picking up Panera donations in the wee morning hours. Perhaps Teresa's greatest asset is her positive attitude. She always arrives at work smiling and happy. She engages in genuine conversations with volunteers and guests about any topic, and she spends time with her staff, always considers their input when making decisions. She's certainly a jack of all trades and willing to jump in at any time, day or night, and I can definitely attest to that. I had gone into the kitchen to get an ice water one day and found her on her knees, sleeves up, trying to fix the dishwashing machine by herself. And this is a commercial dishwashing machine as big as the stage, so in there ready to make it happen. It's clear that Teresa has great passion in her field and takes her job very seriously. She prides herself in doing terrific work, but more than that, she prides herself in being a good person. She's a valuable member of the city's special services team, and I congratulate you, Teresa Bryant, on this well-deserved honor.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Mayor Massey, City Manager Boyer, City Council, and the Selection Committee. I really have to thank the members of my staff, and I brought my own cheering squad tonight, and fellow senior service employees who recommended me. I was quite surprised and humbled. This job is one that is not done alone by a very long shot. I have a fantastic staff of 7 in the kitchen, 3 staff in the senior center, 1 assessment counselor, over 140 volunteer drivers, packers, plus kitchen volunteers. In addition, the fantastic support of the senior staff members. They all make me look good and provide the wonderful meals and various services that we offer our homebound residents and those active adults who participate in the numerous activities and programs that we offer here at the Caustic Center. I would ask that those members of the senior division staff who are here please stand and be recognized. Come on, guys. March like this team. In addition, thank you for all the help we receive from police, the city staff, the fire department, and special services staff on the day of special events, when we need just that perfect amount placed on the plate for our specials. I also have to thank my supportive friends, since moving to Michigan 25 years ago, have become family. Neither my husband nor I were from Michigan and had no family in the area, so when we moved here, we quickly found those friends who have remained friends to this day. PTA parents, soccer parents, quilting friends, and friends of friends that have expanded through the years. They've been there every step of the way, providing friendship and support for our family through good times and bad. Many shared laughs, walks, drinks, dinners, road trips, and support when I took this job. My thank you would not be complete without thanking my son Danny and daughter-in-law Beth. My son was able to make his mama very proud and flew in from Georgia this morning. Unfortunately, because of her own job commitments, Beth could not be present. They have encouraged and cheered me on every step of the way. When life changed and I became a widow, I began thinking about what I needed or wanted to do. At the time, I was running my own non-medical in-home care service for older adults with a very good friend so that they could stay in their homes. I realized I was done with being my own boss and started looking at options. Fortunately, this job became available, which seemed to fit all the necessary points: providing a service, specifically food for those who needed it. One of my most dear friend's sons has always called me the food lady. A city that strongly supported their residents, supported their friends, and enough variety that I knew every day would not be the same. Now, it could be a little bit of the same sometimes. That was 4 years ago in October, and I have not looked back since. I couldn't be who I am and the job that I do without all of you. So thank you very much.
Daryl, you coming on up? I'm Ed Gardner. I'm the Director of Planning and Community Development. Coming up here, Daryl DeRocher, Code and Zoning Inspector, coming up to get this award. Well, good evening, everybody. I hope you're all having a great time at this event where we recognize all these outstanding employees for all their hard work and achievements. I'm here to affirm the choice of Daryl DeRocher here as an outstanding employee. Daryl has been at the city, now I crossed this off, I had originally said 8 years, and then just before we came out here, I asked him, I go, you been here 8 years already? He goes, Ed, it's been 13 years. So, time.
Wrong for me.
So, he's been here and he came to Farmington Hills after a distinguished law enforcement career in Bloomfield Township. And, you know, I've been driving down Telegraph Road for probably about 25 years, and when he was an officer there, he never got me speeding, so I'm thankful for that. So with that background in law enforcement, he was more than qualified for his second career as a zoning and code enforcement officer. And being a zoning and code enforcement officer, you know, it's not an easy job. It's not easy to tell people what they can and cannot do on their property. And with that, you have to have an extreme amount of patience and also command respect from people. And I tell you, Daryl does a great job with that. And he's the go-to guy whenever I need him to do something. And also, Daryl's always the first one. When I walk into the office, he's the first person I see. His desk is right there, and he always has a "Good morning, boss" for me. And then when I walk over to the area, he's at the office working out early, and he makes coffee for everybody. And so he's the guy that is always opening up and the first person you see. And so that makes for a nice day for me when I hear that from him. I've also heard it from a very good source that he's got his retirement papers already filled out. All that's needed is a signature and a date. And I told him that I'd be very brief right now in our remarks, so I'm gonna hold true to my words on that because I don't need him retiring tomorrow. So I just want to add that, you know, whenever I need somebody to do something, and when I have a sensitive job that needs to be done, the first person that I go to is Daryl. And I ask him, I go, Daryl, can you handle it? And he's never let me down. So I think that says it all. And I want to thank you for all your hard work. Thank you very much. I think it's a well-deserved recognition.
Officer Gifford, consider yourself fortunate. At 53, you can still take these off. At 66, you don't. Mayor Massey, members of City Council, City Manager Boyer, guests, and Amanda. I would like to express my gratitude and appreciation to the Awards Committee for selecting me to receive this award. It comes as a complete surprise, as I was unaware that I had even been nominated. It is a humbling experience to receive this award for things that I do here. I would like to recognize two individuals who were instrumental in me becoming a member of the Farmington Hills staff. One is Dale Connigan, who is the former Director of Planning and Community Development, and the other is Lee Blisman, who is my supervisor from the Zoning Department. As I was making my way through the maze of testing and interviewing, for the position of zoning inspector, both Dale and Lee saw something in me that they thought would make a good fit for this position. I am very thankful for the trust and confidence they made in me in selecting me for this position, and I only hope that my performance has exceeded their expectations. Dale and Lee, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I feel fortunate to have a job I enjoy that provides me with the satisfaction of helping others. For instance, when I stop at a residence and the missus answers the door, I say, I'm from the city zoning department, and I'm here to inform you that the pile of rubbish you have over there needs to be removed, or maybe there's a junk car in the driveway that needs to be taken away. And she responds by saying, man, am I glad to see you. I've been after that deadbeat husband of mine for the past 6 months. And I need him to clean up that mess or get rid of that junk car out of the driveway. But he just won't listen to me. However, I'll let him know that you've been here, and I'm sure he'll take care of it. Having spent my formative years roaming the streets here in this area, which was affectionately known as Farmington Township, I find this job permits me to give something back to the community where I grew up, and I can have a small part in making Farmington Hills a better place to live, work, and play. In closing, I would like to leave you with some words of inspiration from former Vice President Joe Biden. I know. At the ceremony for the signing of the Affordable Care Act, Biden reaches over to President Obama and he says to him, "This is a big deal." Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that this is a big deal. From the resident who comes into the office looking for information on how to take care of their trash or when their collection is going to be, to the multi-million-dollar developer coming in wanting to know where the planning department is so he can put up his hotel in the city. It is all a big deal. So no matter what you think you might do that is trivial and doesn't seem that it matters, it does matter to somebody. So I thank you, and God bless you, and I'm proud to be a member of the Farmington Hills staff.
Good evening once again. Chief Nevis here for the last time. Emily, Lucia, if you'd make your way to the stage, please. It's my honor to share remarks about Outstanding Employee Award winner, Police Services Technician Emily Lucia. Emily's been an employee of the police department for 4 years. Emily's Farmington Hills journey actually started before she officially worked for the city. Back in 2013, Emily was a college student. Her life and plans were headed in another direction when her beloved father, Deray Lucia, was murdered at her Farmington Hills family party store. During the investigation, arrests, and court proceedings, all which led to a conviction, we spent considerable time with Emily, myself included. Emily's life-changing experience led to a new desire to work in law enforcement and dedicate herself to giving back. Emily started her Farmington Hills journey officially by working as a police intern. Next, Emily spent 2 years working at the command desk in jail serving as a police service aide. Serving as a police service aide led to another position. The past 2 years, she served as a police service technician in the traffic section of the Operations Bureau. Emily assists traffic officers with several functions, including follow-up investigations of hit-and-run vehicle crashes. She also processes approximately 20 abandoned autos a week. Her alertness to her duties is credited with recovering approximately $20,000 for the city from abandoned vehicle auctions. Emily is well-liked and respected as a team player, as illustrated by some of the following examples of working with her co-workers. Emily willingly searches female prisoners whenever needed. She will race to a school when a crossing guard calls ill. She'll deliver a subpoena when needed, drop off a pickup or a speed trailer, prepare a vehicle for a parade, or a shift trade with any of her coworkers. Emily also gets the Iron Woman Award for not using any sick time. Her helpful attitude, constant smile, and friendly nature make her the person you want to be around. Emily is a people person committed to giving back and making a difference. A year ago, she became a significant mentor to a 13-year-old girl whose mother was killed in a Farmington Hills homicide. Emily has also mentored several young women at her church. Emily has helped detectives identify recently an elderly woman who did not speak English. Thanks to Emily's translation skills, officers were able to identify the woman and reunite her safely with her family. Recently, a domestic violence victim, there was also a language breakdown for a woman who did not speak English. Emily was summoned because the woman only spoke Arabic. It was a very short conversation, and Emily probably thought that not much had happened, but Emily actually planted a good seed. The next day, the woman called out for Emily, said she was a victim of domestic violence, asked for help. Detective O'Neill, I think, was your partner, and you went over to the woman's house and took her safely to a safe haven. Emily spends her Tuesdays and Thursdays nights learning how to read and write Arabic to enhance her ability to help officers communicate with some members of our community. Police Service Technician Emily Lucia knows the meaning of dedication, public service, and giving back. Emily, on behalf of your Farmington Hills adopted family and your real family, some of which is here tonight, and the city of Farmington Hills, we're all proud to give you your well-deserved distinguished honor as an outstanding employee.
Hi, I am not much of a talker, so this will be brief. I just wanted to say thank you. Not too many people really get to genuinely say that they love where they work, and I do. I love to work for the city, and I love to work for the police department. I really didn't think that I was going to be doing this as a career, but I'm happy that I ended up here. So I just want to say thank you to City Manager Boyer, City Council, Mayor Massey for recognizing me. And then finally, I just want to say thank you to the command staff at the police department who I work with. My traffic sergeant, Sergeant Mueller, who couldn't be here today, Commander Piggott, Commander Unruh, Assistant Chiefs King and Assistant Chief Rodriguez, and of course, Chief Nevis. I really do appreciate this. Thank you.
How about another big hand for our outstanding employees? It's time to bring up our Employee of the Year, Sean Devers. I get to read this right up for you. Sean started his career in the city in 2015 when he was hired in as a Construction Inspector 1 for the Engineering Division. In October of 2016, he was promoted to Construction Inspector 2, and now is being honored with the well-deserved award of the 2018 Employee of the Year. Sean has a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Wayne State. Prior to his career with the city, he has worked at several engineering and construction firms as a project manager and a staff engineer. Sean also has worked in a classroom assisting students with autism in the Waterford School District, where I think he showed a positive attitude and great patience early in his career. Sean took on the role of several major projects over the last 3 years, and one being the Independence Common Road Project, which was over a 2-year period, 2016 and 2017. It was a very challenging project, a very controversial project when it got started. But Sean did an excellent job, and in 2018 he was on a 13-mile road construction project. Both of these were very challenging jobs, and both had issues during the construction, not based on anything that Sean did, but just the magnitude of these projects that were in the city. He has worked very well with our contractors, our city staff, our resident on these complex, sometimes difficult projects. Sean worked long hours, including most weekends. He ensured all the work was completed in a safe and professional manner with accurate reporting that was submitted on time. Sean also acted as a mentor for the city's engineering interns and supervised them on a daily basis. During the course of the major construction project, Sean handled all the resident inquiries, and I can assure you there was a lot of calls through Independence Common Road project. He interacted with the residents and in a helpful manner and assisted them with the concerns about access to their house, their trash pickup, and how mail is going to get to their home. Several residents took time to contact the city with compliments on Sean's attitude, his level of respect, and his way of going up and beyond. In my office, we also received calls to praise Sean for the work that he was doing on this project. He has been an integral part of the city's infrastructure improvements, and you've done such a good job. I noticed on the schedule that you have over $5 million of projects that you'll be managing this summer. The engineering inspectors are often in the fields and don't always get the recognition that they deserve. That is why we are here to shine the light on Sean tonight for the work that he's done and congratulate him on the 2018 Employee of the Year.
Thank you, everybody. First and foremost, thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you for the award committee, everybody involved. As people always said, you know, about having good staff and people that you work with, it does make a big difference. Being out there in the construction field, it's not easy, you know, dealing with all the different complaints and the aspects of the project. So to have good colleagues back you up, it makes a big difference. I would like to touch base about the cohesiveness that was spoke of. Working a lot out there on the road projects, working with the officers and stuff like that. You guys help keep our projects safe and keep traffic slowed down, so that is tremendously appreciated. Other than that, once again, I didn't write nothing down. I plan on keeping it short, you know. It's greatly appreciated. I like coming to work here every day and look forward to many more years.
You know, the Employee of the Year's award is such a special award. I've used a lot of city services in my 30 years here in the community, and it is the only community my kids have ever known. From the little ones playing soccer out there. I can't even remember which son it was that was doing soccer. You know, I have my coffee hours here as well. And then this year I added on where for the first time I started volunteering for Meals on Wheels. And so to actually see how the operation works a little more closely and all the fantastic work you guys do, again, it just makes me so proud. And so to actually be selected as the Employee of the Year for all of these operations that go on, and as someone that's heard a lot lately about fixing the darn roads, to actually have you day in and day out in the middle of that, making sure our community is as strong as it can be from an infrastructure standpoint, it says a lot to your hard work for the city and on behalf of all of our residents. So Sean, congratulations, and on behalf of the state of Michigan, I want to present you with this proclamation.
All right, well, we're going to wrap it up now, and I would like to take this opportunity. This is the second time this event was planned, to the HR division and their staff for planning this event twice, so thank you, John and your staff, and to the special services staff for providing this dinner for us tonight. This is a little different. Normally we're racing off to a council meeting. We don't have to do that tonight. There's plenty of food left. Please enjoy the evening. Anybody that received an outstanding award, please go to this side. this side over here, and there'll be some photos taken. So thank you, and thank you for your work this year.